Yeah. Okay. So a couple of things this morning. I've only taken one trade, and I took it after I finished off with Preston this morning. I saw it kind of meandering its way up over here. We had 1, 2, 3 bars, and we paused up here near the value area line. You can see I've got the diamond telling us that we would be getting in down here, but I chose to get in a little bit sooner. It was stalling. And the double diamonds always print the bar before, right? I don't put them on the actual bar, the double diamonds, because if price goes against me, the double diamonds can end up being covered by the bar that is building, and I can't tell easily what what actually happened. So when you see the double bars, you know that the trade was entered in on the bar that was after it. So I took it in here, made my vortex. This signal here actually wouldn't have hid. Everything okay? Everything's coming. It came in. It wouldn't. The signal would not have been a good one. We would still be in it. We're taking a little bit of heat, but I managed to get out before then. I got in halfway up the bar. Actually, you can tell what number I got in. Look at this. It's not giving me the 0 zeros on the end. Ay. Gotta adjust that. So I got in at 19, right up here at the very top. So not too far from the red line. Now the red line's moved again. So let's move it again. Remember, as the price moves, these lines are going to shift for us because it makes sense. The distribution is going to actually mimic what it is that's actually traded during the day. So we're constantly moving the red and the green lines. Our POC hasn't changed, but it's close to swapping over. If you see, we've traded a good deal in and around 17 to 18. It's not going to take that much to move it, but we're continuing to grind our way up. And if we make our way up, we've got yesterday's high sitting at 24, almost 25, and we have the R1 floor trader pivot sitting up there. So both of those are going to be of interest to us. We sliced through this little zone previously. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab my yellow line. I'm going to put it over here. In fact, I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to put that back to where it was. I'm going to duplicate this line here. I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to put it on the day before yesterday's value area. It's in the middle of R2 and R1. Usually it will, if it's close to any one of these standard pivots, there's no point in even having it there because we're going to pay attention to it based on the floor trader pivot. It's good to know that you've got another area of resistance on it. But this is 2 days back. So we're trading near the highs of the big push from a couple days back. We came down a decent amount, but we're back into the range. So we've got an inside day. We need to be careful. It's definitely not trending this morning.
All right. Let's see in the MA line.
I'm sorry, what was that, Mel?
The moving average line, is it not showing? I'm not seeing it.
That's a good question. What happened to my moving average? All right, so let me do this.
Maybe the strategy's not on.
Well, the strategy is on it. Strategy's on for sure. It's plugged in. I haven't changed any of the other settings. Yeah, it's so hard to get good help. Yeah, there's no reason why that shouldn't be on. Was there an error in the log? All right, so if I do this, if I create a new chart, and I change it to my range, make it a 10, and I click OK. So here's my new chart, right? And I'll right click and I go to templates. So Preston, you see, I even do it myself if I need to create a new chart. I immediately go to the templates, and then I go to strategies. And oh, it's very odd. I don't see Leaf this morning. He's always the first one in. Okay. So all the defaults are in. I'm going to start it up in the same account. And all right. If I maximize this, there's my lines, there's my robot boxes. I don't know. Okay, we'll use this chart. I've got $100 on the other chart, but we'll just use this one here for the time being. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to leave this thing running in case I need it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here and go to indicators. And where's my IW? HMA 100. All right, there's my line. If I switch it back to trend, is it going to come back? I don't know. I'll have to play with it later. I'd rather stay on the chart that I've got some donuts on. I've got the other one on. I've got it paused. We're waiting. All right. A couple things this morning. It happens often that people lose their charts, and it's okay. It's not the end of the world if we lose our charts. There is a video that I provide everybody when they start that shows us how to rebuild our charts, but it's really easy. All you do is you click on new. You click on new on the control center. You click on new. You go to your chart. You pick this thing up, right? You change it to 10, right? There's our chart, right? Now you'll notice that there's no chart trader on here. I've got some stuff in here. We don't have any of the robot boxes on here either. So how do we go about getting this thing lined up properly? Well, you can do it manually, which I don't advise. After that we do the install, you just right click, go down to templates, click load, and you can see all the templates that you've got saved. So you can save different versions of them and so on. This is my 10 range template right there. I click OK, and notice what happens when I do this. It gives me the chart trader on the side. It also moves the grid over to the right so that I can see my projectors for where the bar is going to open and close. Gives me the robot boxes. I've got my deltas, the one on the chart, and the volume down at the bottom. I don't have to do anything here. Everything was saved in the template. Normally, if you wanted to add something to this, right, you'd have to you go right click, you go to indicators. And when you go to indicators, you'll see that you've got the available indicators are here. This you can select from anything in this box, right? In an indicator, it's always the same format or configuration. What's available to be selected is in the upper left box. So let's say I click this one here, right? this indicator from Neuro Street. I can see all of the parameters that are associated with that indicator, right? If I come over here and I take a look at my MA slope, we usually don't use that here, but I've got an indicator that's got the slope. So you can see all the parameters that are associated with it, right? But you can't change anything here because it's only in the available section. You can make modifications to it after that you get it down into the configured section. So let's say I want to add a second moving average, right? I come over here. I can either I select it and I click add to add it, and it's down here at the bottom, or you can just double click on it and it's going to add that to us. So Ed likes using a 50 instead of using a 100. So let's put that on for today, for giggles. Right?
Were you supposed to have a moving average in the template?
Nope.
Okay.
So if you've got a moving average in the template, you likely have it configured like this.
Stop filled.
Where am I here? What time is it? Oh, lots of time. So you see you got the 3-bar indicator over here. So if I double click on this and I click OK, it gives us all of the signals without having the auto trader. So if you don't want to run the auto trader and you just want to see where all the signals are, you can add the 3-bar indicator over there. Or maybe you have it set up because you've got that moving average already configured. Either way, the auto trader is going to add that, supposedly. It didn't do it on the other time. I don't know. I'll have to look into why. But the auto trader is going to deal with adding most of the other stuff that's not in our template. So if you want to get rid of this, just double click on the particular item that you're on, right? And come down to the bottom, select it, and then click remove. You can make modifications to any of the indicators that are not part of the auto trader down here at the bottom, right? So if you want to use a 20 instead of a 50 or a 100, which it defaults to, then you just click OK and it'll accept it. There's a lot of confusion about using the apply button. The apply button is only to be used if you're guessing, right? You want to see what it looks like without closing the chart. So what does the 20 look like? So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click apply, right? So there's my 20, right? Yeah, I don't like that. It's too sensitive. I don't have the real trend with a 20, right? What does it look like with a 30? I can come here and I can click apply. Okay, that's a lot smoother. So I wouldn't want anything less than a 30. What does a 50 look like? Come over here, I click apply. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm trying to get a bearing on where it is that, or what the average is going to look like. Now, when you're doing this with the auto trader or anything else, you don't want to be clicking apply when you're done, right? Because if you click apply, right, that adds everything to the chart. If you click apply with the auto trader, it actually starts up the auto trader. And then when you click OK, it starts it up again. So why do that exercise twice? So I personally don't, the only time I use the apply button is if I want to see something on the chart. Otherwise, I'm always using OK. So I'm going to leave this at 50 for this morning. Actually, I don't even need to do that because I have it on the other chart. Now, once that you've got your indicator loaded with everything that's here, you can do a couple of things, right? You can save your workspace. So if we grab our workspace over here, here's my workspace. So I've got a bunch of workspaces over here. So this is my the workspace that I use for the trading and for the room. I've called it new trading screen, old computer. So I'm on my old computer at the moment. And I've got a trading screen and so on. Now, let's say I want to make a backup of this thing so I don't lose it, right? Easy enough to do. You come to the workspaces. You say save as. So you can only do this on the one that's got the green tab on it. You say save as, and then I'm going to say backup. Right? So now I've got a backup of everything that I had on the other workspace. If I want to get back to that other workspace, no problem. Easy enough to do. I come over here. I go to the new trading screen, and everything's going to come back. Slowly. this workspace has got like 20 screens on it. It takes a little bit for it to come back. Please don't tell me I lost the let's go back to the workspaces. It's in behind me, right? So yeah, so I managed to close the auto trader when I switched over. That wasn't cool. All right, so I got to start it up again. But you've got a backup of it now. If you ever need to pull it back, there's no problem. You can pull it back, and you've got your saved workspace. So if you accidentally close a chart and you save it, telling it to replace the one that you have on the system, then what's going to happen is you're going to lose all of your charts. So don't do that. Let's see, come back. There we go, back to normal. All right, so I've got $100 in this account. This guy here. It's just not shown anymore. The $100 was made on this bar right there. So we've got a nice little run up. The time of day is not good. This would be a really good place to take a short because we're near that R1 over here. There's one other thing I do want to mention about backups and so on. If you open up your workspace, your file explorer, and you go to the documents, right? So you go to documents and here's your NinjaTrader 8 folder. So if you notice down here towards the bottom, the last item says workspaces. So these are all the workspaces that you currently have on the system right now. And don't meddle with them when you got NinjaTrader open. But if you want to make a copy of them while the system is down, right? Make a copy of them. And then if you ever need to roll it back, you can just copy that workspace back into this folder. If you're confused with the business of the workspaces, just remember, in order for you to be able to recognize the workspace, you need to be doing any file manipulations while NinjaTrader is closed. You can't hurt anything by moving anything around, deleting anything. These are just workspaces. They're templates of where all the charts that you have open are on your local computer. So, this is another way of doing your backups. Preston lost his charts last night. It was late in the evening. I reminded him that if you need to get a hold of me and it's later, it's okay to try to get a hold of me. Generally, I've got my phone strapped to my hip. Tuesday nights, I usually don't look at it because I'm busy with my church, with my church stuff. But afterwards, I always pay attention to the messages. Very rarely do I not get back to messages. If it's late and I'm doing something that I can't reply back easily to help, we'll just have to wait for the morning. You just know that it's after hours. But most of the time, I'll get back to you. So don't feel ever bad about not being able to reach out to me, or that it's too late. If it's too late, I'll just look after it when I do have time. All right, so we've got a nice little run up here. Our rubber band is stretched really nicely. It's tapped R1. We would expect it to kind of be meandering back down from there. I actually ended up losing that additional line that I had over here. So I selected it, Control C, Control V, grabbing that. I want to mark this spot right here because that's the next level up. If we continue to march our way up here, we've got a little bit of, this is going to be a roadblock right there. Because you've got other areas where you've got a decent amount of trading in the 3 days back. It looks like we're kind of making our way out of the zone where we left yesterday. We'll see. Maybe they're just loading up to go back down, do another leg. They're making it confusing because they went down, they went higher. They've been expanding the range backwards. They're making like an inverse triangle, and they're rising up on the other side. For today, we're finally outside of the range of yesterday, so we might anticipate it moving up, but that R1 is going to stop them from doing whatever it is that they're doing. So we got 3 minutes before market opens. Let's just take a look at our trades. I went short on this bar here. The value area high was higher at the time. It was in the middle of this zone over here. Had just touched it, got in at 19, and made my ticks. This guy here would have been okay, but I wouldn't probably have taken any of these trades right here. We're stuck in the middle of all of this zone, and it's not like it's clean and the bars are nice and fresh. You know, if you see the bars all on top of each other like this, you can do what Mark does, kind of trade the bottom into it with a finite risk. He's using 6 ticks to go in from when it gets back into the box to get back in. So either win 6 or loses 6, which is not unreasonable. But if you see all this and you see boxes on top of boxes, just walk away. Come back when the market is looking a little bit better. You can definitely tell that the POC's over here. Look at all the boxes. Boxes. All the robot boxes right on that line.
Tony, good morning to you. Unpaused if you let me.
Yep, but I don't have it on. I don't have the green buttons on.
Yeah, early, not done with my coffee yet.
No worries, but thanks for pointing it out. I get to talking and I forget. So
hey, I saw that one turned on. Otherwise, I would have reminded you.
There you go. It's always nice to have the guys looking after me. All right, let's have a look here. I don't see anything terribly interesting in the charts to talk about this morning. Most important thing is that we're above the value area high. Usually means that the markets will trend a little bit better once it's above its value area high. And we're also over yesterday's high. So that's actually another telltale sign. You notice that we came up to it, not far from it, came back, came up to it, came back. It's a characteristic that they actually do. They make it look like it's going to run. If the market's like moving up really fast in a direction, they'll rarely do they make it go all the way up to the very top, right? They know that that's the target. Everybody's trying to possibly get out at the high of the day. So what they do is they come really close to it and then they come all the way back. Look what they did here. They went all the way pretty close to it and then they drove it all the way back down, lower than where they started, making their way up, and they come all the way back down. Let's see what they end up doing. Our next line above this little zone is way up here at 38. So we might have some clear sailing all the way up over here. Let's see if we get a robot box over here. It'd be nice to get a robot box. At least we have a structure to deal with where someone's bought or sold in a certain zone over here. That'll give us an idea of how we can hold it. We're a little bit in an open space over here, even though that we're near R1. And it's going to be hard to take a trade in complete open space. So my horizontal lines this morning, I'm going to put one at the date, our previous high sitting over here. And that's the only one I'm going to draw for now. So up above, I've got more lines, but these are old ones from before. Let me grab this one, bring it down. That's double bottoming with this area over here. That swings all by itself. That's our most recent high that we took out. And we're in this area, in this zone. You know what I'm missing? I'm missing my 30-second NQ chart. Did I close it? What did I do with it? I moved it around and I don't see it. Not this one. Not this one. Not this one. Get rid of this one. So let's get rid of this chart. Don't need it. No, I closed it. All right. So see, Preston, you're not the only one that is victimized by closing charts. I actually lost both of them. All right. So I have this chart. I've been looking at the 30-second chart for years and years and years and years and years. I don't necessarily take trades off of it, but I want to see what it actually looks like. Sometimes you can see the up and down a little bit better than you can see them in our chart. This one here, and I want to put up the NQ as well. New chart. So in 2-3 weeks, we're going to be switching over to the June contract. Yeah, man. Today would be nice. There we go. All right. So this guy here, I use as a little bit of a momentum thing. So this one here doesn't need to be here anymore. Let's get this one out of the way. I don't know what happened to these two charts, but that's all right. So I'm going to grab this guy over here. You'll notice that we went down, up, up, down. We kind of have the same pattern here. We didn't make it up as high on the second push over here, but you can see how this is more exaggerated than this. So you can use this chart to kind of give you a gauge as to whether or not they're going to be pushing up or down. Most of the time, it's accurate. If you're in a trade and the NASDAQ begins to, let's say you're in a trade short and the NASDAQ begins to rise, there's a really good probability that you're going to get stopped out. So if you want to cut your losses early, you can.
Market's open, Tony.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's just give it a moment here. We're coming near that line that we've drawn. Let's adjust our lines over here. You'll notice that whenever the value area, whenever we're outside of the value area, this area will tend to expand out. If we're trading inside it, the tendency is for it to squeeze. Let's make this chart a little bit bigger so we can see what's going on. Put this to the side. What's going on there? Let's see what happens. Yeah, I'll take you. Right off of this line over here. If it closes up, looking for 4 and 8.
Order filled. Target
There's
filled.
one. Really nice pullback. I'm going to grab my line. I'm not going to give
Target
any,
filled.
never mind. Okay, there we go. So we've got 100 from before, 150 now. Nice and clean. What are the reasons for taking this particular trade? We have a 3-bar. Red, red, red. We have our moving average rising. So we got 3 bars, reason number 1. Reason number 2, our moving average is rising. Now you'll notice that most of these bars are decent size, right? We have a little bit of a wick on them, but they're good size bars. From the top to the bottom, we traveled a decent distance. But notice what what also happened, we've got this swing where we drew our horizontal line at. We came down, we tapped the bottom of that, and we came up off of it. It oscillated a little bit, made its way up. So here you'll notice that we've got a little tiny bit higher high than before. We're straddling R1. We know that if it's near R1, it's going to likely cause us to pause in and around this zone. So right now, I'm going to grab the bottom line and I'm going to put it up at the top. Right? I'm going to leave this range down here at the bottom. If it comes back down, trades a little bit lower and comes back up, I will scalp 4 ticks. If it comes up a little bit higher and closes down, I will try it for 4 to the downside. We've got 1, 2, coming up on the 3rd red bar. Nope, we're in the middle of the range. So I woke up this morning with a really scratchy throat. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice or not, but slurp on some hot water over here that Vera brought me. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask away. Okay, we've got some selling over here. Auto Trader will automatically take this trade. I am going to just do this. I just want 4 if it comes up. Double bottom, looking for 4 in this zone.
Order submitted. Order filled.
Looking, gave 2. No, don't take it all back. They're in a range for a reason. There's room to the R1 over here. You shouldn't be coming back, buddy.
Stop filled.
Never mind. Okay, so I gave back most of my morning. So the short on the top for the ping would have worked, and the pong didn't work in this case. Okay, I'm going to try it long here again. It closes up. Nope, going to close down. All right, never mind. All right, we're near the POC's moved. And it looks like we're going to be coming back down. The POC has not moved. It's the value area line that's moved. You know what? I still like it here if it closes up.
Order
I'm
filled.
going to try to take 4. We came down sufficiently, bounced off of this little line over here. Please don't stop me out again. Come on up, not down. If I get tagged here, I'm going to just take a little bit of a break because I've taken a few trades in this little zone over here and it hasn't been cooperating. I'll wait for it to come back down a lot further. It's going to get tagged.
Stop filled.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm just going to wait. Give it some time. I got tagged a couple times up here, anticipating that it was going to be fine. The sad part is I was sitting at 250, which would have been my target, and I went back to the well. I had 100 from before, 150 here, and now I'm doing the gauntlet on the other side. So it's been not following through with our with our longs. You'll notice here that our average has been steadily rising. We would have at least anticipated that if it came back into the range, it would have kind of made its way over here, but it's not playing nice. Okay, we got the beginnings of a robot box over here.
I'm back.
Yeah, I'm getting beamed, Mr. Ed. It looks like it wants to come back down. So market went up, came down, came up, a little bit higher than the previous one, came down, and now we're below. Here's our little M structure at the top. Are you thinking short over here, Ed? I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to give it 10 minutes before that I do anything else. I want to,
Well,
to
yeah,
get
you
out of here.
double
It's
top,
already,
so it looks like it's turning around a bit. You're under R1, so I would start thinking short from as high as possible. You could probably do a long for a scalp because it's got to make its way up in order for you to go short. You got that box. Looks like it's break. Well, it's already done. Too late. But if you hit R1 and you don't take out that double top, yeah, definitely shorts. You want to do it from as high as possible.
well, we're sitting at 30. We have to get in at around 27 in order for us to be able to withstand the stop and have our stop at the highest point. So we'll see what becomes of this. I wanted to kind of leave this area before that I take anything more, because I've been burned twice now in a row. They're not following through. Would you have taken the trade long at 935.48?
No, not back into R1 after that double top. Nope.
It was the
What's your 30 minute
backside of the
look like?
pong.
What's the 30 minute look like?
It's the backside of the pong, Ed. So we got two robot boxes here. It's choppy. And you know what? They stay here a little bit longer. It won't be long before this volume builds out and our POC is going to come up to the top. I'm sorry, you were saying, Ed?
Oh, yeah.
What bearing does the 30-minute have? See, when I went long here at 26, let's call it 26.75, right? We had just tapped the backside of this little area, yesterday's high. I expected it to rise up a little bit from there. I never made it all the way up. Oh, look at that. I made it up to 27, but we probably wouldn't have been filled. Wow, look at this. So we went from the market moving really nicely, right? Most of the bars, not too much to overlap, to everything overlapping.
Yeah, if you look at your volume at the bottom, you see that the volume pushes are on the long side, and then they exhaust and they can't seem to go any higher, and they're steadily getting less and less
Lower.
volume on the long side.
Oh, they're telling everybody, hey, we're going long. Well, up here, you would think that they would have made another swing up to the top, but they did not. And now they're kind of drifting down. Next area to pay attention to is our purple line. We'll see if it gets there. Come on. So we've got a couple of pink bars coming out of our robot boxes at the moment. Those pink bars coming out of the robot boxes are telling us that there's kind of some momentum to the downside. And what they're doing, like they were doing yesterday, is they're coming down, they're giving us a little bit of a low, right? And they're coming right back up. Coming down a little bit lower, coming right back up. Coming a little bit lower, coming back up, and they're doing it again here. So the line in the sand between the longs and the shorts is sitting right here at 24.
Can you move your 30-minute chart over to?
The left, you want it
Yeah.
out of the way?
Yeah. Oh, you got it on trend only.
Yep. You don't want me to be on trend only? So a little bit of buying going on over here. If this gives me a 3-bar, I'll take it short. If even if the moving average is going, I'll go counter. I'll click our button over here. We need one more bar though. I need it to get up near this zone around 25-ish. 26. Let's call it 26. Okay, so there's one more bar. Come on up a little bit higher, please. So we're up above this line over here. Oops, didn't want to do that. Short on close. Wow. Still do short on close. Made a new high by just a couple ticks. What's our chart look like over here? The bottom side's changed a little bit, but we're so far away from it, it doesn't really matter. Top line's moved itself up.
Order submitted.
Of course.
Yeah, you had to be ready for that one.
Order filled.
Oh,
Oh,
Stop
well,
fill.
yeah,
Wow.
You got in late. Yeah, you know they got you.
thanks, Ed. All right. So it was bound to happen. Too many winning days in a row. Sooner or later, I was going to get tagged. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be patient and wait. Does anyone have any questions? Not terribly impressive this morning, but it is what it is. So James, if you're noticing, not winning every day. Oh, look at that. Our POC moved up right up the top over here. Our line switches up. Our lime color line switches up.
Like
Lime
they
color
want to
line.
recover that fall from a couple of days ago, whatever that was. 4037 is the next one up.
4037. Yeah. Let's see. So this loss is showing this much, but I had 100 before I started, so I'm still within tolerance over here. Let's see.
All right, 25 might be a good area to buy. 24 or 75. To short it, it's going to be not so bad, but the volume has to exhaust. So on up pushes, you have to see very low volume. Like that. Yeah, that candle, mostly up pushed, closed low, almost no volume.
Well, we're sitting up above the area that we had marked previously. And a robot box up here at the top.
See it closed high, almost no volume. Yep, last few bars, almost no volume. Hasn't really gone anywhere yet. So this might be exhaustion here. Supply is going to have to come back in. People want to buy. Otherwise, shorts are going to dominate.
Wow, look at this. This bar's almost done, and we barely had 1,300 contracts traded. What time is it? It's 9:52. We're not waiting for any news.
Yeah, a good RR would be to short the high point there at around 32. Would just stop just above the high, nice small stop. And if it is volume exhaustion, then, you might make it down to R1 and who knows.
I'm just looking. This was a 3-bar. This was a 3-bar that didn't work. And this guy here. It's a 3-bar that ran me over. It didn't fill me. I broke my rule over here. If it goes 4 ticks before I get filled, I don't want to trade anymore. And it ran me over. So does it mean anything that the volume is steadily rising slowly?
Well, look on which bars it's rising and how they're built. Yep. So, the volume came in on that bar for a high close. So if they're going to push it through, we need volume on this bar to push it through. Otherwise, this is a short here. The risk reward was pretty good. Stop was above the high. So
it
down
closes
close.
Down close.
Wait for down close. Yeah, make sure that they're going to commit.
So if we down close, we're going to be at 3150, which is right and around this zone. We were a little bit higher than the previous bar. Good one to try and take some money, make some money back. If it closes down, if it closes up, never mind. If it closes down, there's a good chance it's going to come all the way back down to the bottom.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. Too much volume coming in.
Yeah. We'll just wait. If it closes up, then just closes up. We don't have anything. They're inviting people to go long right now.
Yep, definitely.
All right, here it comes.
Yeah, see, volume's increasing on downticks.
It came down.
Look at all that
Right.
positive delta, but the volume keeps increasing on every downtick. They're just going to count it up, see which is cheaper, which is more profitable. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah. Bye-bye.
The Nasdaq is holding its own. It's not going anywhere. Our POCs moved up. Sorry, our value area lines moved up. Yeah, this is not looking good. Well, actually, you know what? We've got 10,000 contracts traded on this.
Order submitted. Order filled.
Come on down. Please and thank you. Oh, it gave 3 ticks. And the volume's building. It's on toast. What time is it? A few minutes to 10 o'clock. Come on back down. Okay, the low that it's made is down at 31. We're asking it to get down. There's the 4, but there's no way we would have been filled.
You didn't take the 4?
No, it didn't get, well, it ticked down there, barely. Come on back down, buddy. You got all the room back down to the bottom. All the way back down.
You might want to do a break-even exit on this if they give it to you. It's ticking up, and the volume's not increasing but they are pushing. It's a muscle move. See, like there's no volume, but it keeps up ticking. This is definitely a muscle move. They don't care. They just want traders to jump in.
It's near 10 o'clock. I'm not liking that it's near 10 o'clock.
One tick's better than -10.
Target filled.
All right. So I got
Became
out
too
with a
iffy.
I got 4 ticks. I got nothing. And I got a break even. Better than poking the eye, Ed.
Yeah, now you just gotta get out of here. They're gonna keep enticing traders into the market. They don't care which side, and there's no big agenda here to go anywhere other than to get people in. So you're just gonna let this go. Wait for something better.
10 o'clock, you always had that little bit of a spiky move. Had we been in, had it not been around 10 o'clock, probably would have held out a little bit longer for it.
I'd say let it run a little bit. Maybe you get a 3BR or something.
No, it's been a while since I've been at this max loss. Come on back. Decide what you're going to do. So usually around 10 o'clock, they make a high or a low, which they'll retest again later around 10:30ish. So here we are again, making a new high. Just barely a new high.
See, there's no more volume.
There's no more volume and we're in the boxes.
Yeah.
So the most recent low that they've made while they've been doing this churning is down at 29. And we've got 35 and change up above. Let me grab my line. Let me adjust it. So the only way we're going to do this, ideally, what we'd like it to do is to challenge the highs and come back into the range again. Or we
Yeah.
just leave it alone and come back later in the day.
Short 32.75.
32.75. Now where we've gone.
It fits a stop, and you got a double top on your 30. You got the volume shelf, which kind of wanes right around there.
Looks like they've left. That's 5 points. So we're near R1. I'll try it long with one contract. We've got a 3-bar coming in. It's been sideways. We're near that POC. We haven't been at it for a while. Closes down, all bets are off. NASDAQ's inching its way down. ES should follow. There it goes. All right, so our average is now telling us that it wants to be short. that little beep's telling us that we've got a trade coming in. If it closes up, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4. Not interested. We're in the middle of this mess over here. So this
24 and a
line,
quarter tap.
you want long at 24 and a quarter?
24 and a
blue
quarter
line
tap.
there?
You got a blue line. I mean, if that blue line means anything.
It does. That line is our previous swing high back
Yeah.
here. It's our 830 area. See if it comes down. The delta is not in our favor to go long here. And you'll see how the volume has been steadily increasing. And we've been going further down. The 30-minute chart is around 23. We got these two wicks sitting on the 30-minute chart. Around 23, which is just a little bit lower than we're at the moment. What was it? 10:05. I've only got another 10 minutes. All right, there's our next push down. So these numbers that you see printed over here, these are orders that have gone through. So there we go. So I am going to try it along here with just one contract. Never mind. So next important area is our next purple line down here at the bottom. Let's see if it makes its way down. Look at that.
There's your invitation.
Yeah, sure. Who's going to go along with 2,000 more people selling on the bar?
The institutions when they go for their stop run.
Well, that's what they're doing, all right. It's turning out to be a really nasty cleanup bar because they went straight up and came right back down into the range. All right, so this is a zone that we would be looking for a little bit of a bounce. There's our purple line. Still a ton of selling. Come on down to the purple line, please. The last swing that we dabbled on was down here at in between 9 and around 9:45.
Yeah, they're going to go for their stop run.
So some people say, look at all those red bars. Why can't we just pop in on one of those red bars? Here's the problem. The minute that you get in, right, is the time that they go in and they start going in the other direction. So the idea here is take the trade after that you get a decent pullback. So, and if they continue to go down in the same direction, at least you're getting in after they've driven it back some. Come on. So this is our first candle that has closed up with green delta, where they've bought more than they've actually.
So you know what happens when it does this? People jump in on all those red candles, and sooner or later they hit a spot where they're going to take it back, and they run the stops. The retail traders are all short. They ran the stops down from the long push up to the left, steadily up, and then a deep pullback at 944 and steadily up. So they did their stop run here, and they may go higher, they may not. It all depends on who jumps out. If people start jumping out, just taking their exits here, it might just meander for a little bit. But it was
Order
good for
submitted.
a bounce.
Order filled.
Oh boy.
Sorry, what am I doing? I'm taking a short back down into the range.
Yeah, it may bust through.
Target filled.
Still sitting down for the day.
Still got 20 minutes on this candle, man. Look at the 30-minute chart. Looks like that purple line is the target, or even lower. 20, 40,
So why do you say, I've heard people say, oh, I've got 20 minutes on the candle, 50. Why do people say I've got 20 minutes left on a candle? Like, what bearing does that have on anything?
You talking about the 30-minute chart?
Yeah.
It has as much bearing as a range bar chart. It has as much bearing as a 30-second chart. It's the flow of traders. Every 27 minutes, people tend to want to do something. That's why the 30-minute chart is like the standard. Because every 27 minutes, traders want to do something. They can't sit here longer than that. It's probably a psychological thing, or it's just a convention, but it's been a convention for hundreds of years. It's
Hundreds
kind of
of
a
years?
habit.
Don't go down. You double bottomed. You went a little bit lower than before. Follow the flipping rules for a change.
There's no rules,
I got room way up to the high. Say it again, please.
There's no rules. They make them up
There's
as
no
they
rules.
go. They
But yeah,
make
but
'em up
we're
as they
trading
go.
the patterns, right?
So,
The patterns say whatever, right? We're expecting the patterns to do what it is that they're supposed to. This morning, the patterns didn't follow through. Come on, get up there. You got lots of room up to the previous swing. What are we doing here? What's my NASDAQ doing? NASDAQ's inching up. Please and thank you.
you need volume on upticks.
Volume on upticks. Okay, so we've got two.
There you go.
Three.
Volume on
Target filled.
There we go.
Keep your eye on
All
it.
right.
Volume on upticks. When the volume comes in against your tick, then it gets iffy. So volume on upticks if you're long, or volume on downticks if you're short. When the volume it goes against the tick direction, then you know that someone's coming in and just playing with it, messing with it. And it's probably an algorithm that just keeps feeding it so that it gets more traders in.
So the reason for taking that last trade is that we came a little bit lower than the prior swing. Right? And we've got a range. Our most recent range is down from 17.25 all the way up to 22.75. it's exactly the same trade as this one over here that didn't work. See that? They came down a little bit lower. Actually, this was a double bottom, but this one here didn't follow through with this. That's going to happen.
Any given
so
pattern is going to take X amount of trades to fulfill the statistical probability of that pattern. So if you have a 3BR over a series of 50 trades, the 3BR may prove to be a 65 or 70% success rate. So we don't, if you had a count on the number of average signals, how many it takes to fulfill that pattern, then that's it. But we don't know when it starts. So overall, if 100 trades on a particular signal is more than 50% positive, if your R and R is 1-to-1, you'll make money. If your R and R is 2-to-1, you'll make a lot of more money. But if the R is always 1-to-2, then you need a much higher statistical win rate over 100 trades. So yeah, the patterns work. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But we keep adding filters as we see the patterns develop, and we start saying, okay, this pattern is the pattern, but this extra event affects the statistical win rates. So what event is that? Is it the box? Do we count the 3BRs on boxes? So we keep adding all these filters to try and refine it more so that it takes less number of trades to fulfill the success rate of that pattern. It's just the way it is, but there's no beating it. It is what it is. And like I said, we're always going to remember the pain. So you really need to just, take your pattern. If there's no new filter and you've added all the filters you can think of to date, well, that's your pattern. And you're kind of compelled to just take it. Otherwise, you'll never get a handle on the rhythm of win-loss, the pattern of win-loss, because you need to trade it. Discretionary trade is a lot tougher because the decisions that we make sometimes are momentary filters that we haven't added into our auto trader, but we just kind of pick them up on the fly.
Order canceled.
And that's much more difficult to be consistent with. Best thing is, if you're going to do discretionary trading, is to have a really good RR. So, the risk reward potential has to be greater on your discretionary trading. The risk reward could be more adverse on the statistical number that you're relying on, that particular pattern that you've filtered in through auto traders or automated signals.
Is that exhausting?
So I am going to call up for the morning and to see if I can take one or two more trades a little bit later on in the morning to recoup. But I'm going to let it get out of the zone before that I actually do anything else. If anybody wants me, I'm available after 1 o'clock today. In the meantime, if anybody needs me, just put a message into the in Skype and I'll get back to you.
You know what's nice about range bars as opposed to time-based charts? Time-based charts are much more arbitrary because they deal more with in traders' desire to trade. That's why people have 1-minute charts, 3-minute charts, 5-minute charts, 10-minute charts, and the patterns are much more varied. But when you take a price spread and you define it, this is our price spread, then the patterns are more limited. What varies is where they happen, at support and resistance, supply demand zones, that kind of stuff. That's what varies. But the spread is defined very particular. So there's much less variation on the pattern itself of the signal. The important part is the location. That kind of varies with time-based charts. Time-based charts, it could be anywhere, and it could be any kind of pattern. I mean, that's why there's so many candlestick patterns in time-based charts. You got, they have like, I don't know what, 40, 50 different bar chart definitions for time-based charts.
Order
Not all of them are
submitted.
relevant, and not all of them have the same weight.
Order filled.
And on time-based charts, they do have some particular patterns that everybody goes by, and that's sort of like the shift between supply and demand. And on time-based charts, they talk a lot more about supply and demand
Target
than they
filled.
do about support and resistance. Support and resistance is more easily defined on a specific price spread. But on time-based charts, it's more about supply and demand zones. And also at all time of day has a lot more to do with time-based charts. People who trade 5-minute charts, are different than the people who trade 15-minute charts. They see different patterns, even though the price looks like it's moving the same, but it's really not, because the backfilling, especially on the S&P, is so great, that it really can mess you up. The smaller the time-based chart, you may catch a decent turn, but the backfill is going to be tough. On a range bar chart, you know what the backfill is going to be. So much backfill, you got to get out. On a time-based chart, it may or may not happen, and it's so arbitrary that it's kind of hard to get a beat on it, which is why I don't really like time-based charts. I'd rather trade a tick chart, which is X amount of orders, 233 and that's it, or 133 or whatever you like.